6 with me, Shan Russell. The news at 6 is all about the day's biggest developing stories, and we'll be filling in on them over the next half hour. But first, the headlines that we're tracking right now. Prime Minister Modi hits out at Pakistan once again in international fora, asks ASEAN to isolate and sanction those who produce and export terror. South China Sea issue dominates Vientiane summit. In veiled warning to the US, China asks outsiders to stay out of the dispute. America responds by telling China to abide by international tribunal ruling. ISRO adds another feather to its cap, successfully places into orbit an advanced weather satellite INSAT 3DR. Satellite will provide variety of meteorological services to the country. And the President gives a nod to the landmark constitutional amendment bill paving the way to introduce goods and services tax across the country. Our top story this evening, Prime Minister Narendra Modi hit out at Pakistan once again at the East Asia Summit in Vientiane in Laos. Without naming Pakistan though, Modi said one country in the neighbourhood was producing and exporting terror. He also called on the international community to isolate and sanction this instigator.
Days after raising the issue of Pakistan exporting terror in the neighbourhood at the G20 summit, Prime Minister Narendra Modi did it again at the India-ASEAN Summit and the East Asia Summit in Vientiane in Laos. He said that there was one country in the neighbourhood whose competitive advantage rests solely in producing and exporting terrorism. At the East Asia Summit, the Prime Minister said it was important to target not only the terrorists but also their entire supporting ecosystem, and that the strongest action must be reserved for those state actors who employ terrorism as an instrument of state policy.
Rising export of terror, growing radicalization through ideology of hatred, and spread of extreme violence define the landscape of common security threats to our societies. The threat is local, regional, and transitional at the same time. Our partnership with ASEAN seeks to craft a response that relies on coordination, cooperation, and sharing of experiences at multiple levels.
The Prime Minister also said that ASEAN to India's Act East policy and that seamless digital connectivity between India and Southeast Asia was a shared objective.
ASEAN is central to India's Act East policy, and our ties are a source of balance and harmony in the region. Enhancing connectivity in all its dimensions, physical, digital, economic, institutional, and cultural, is at the heart of India's strategic partnership with ASEAN.
Modi also proposed to enhance the ASEAN-India Fund with an additional grant of $50 million and said that a joint task force be set up to work on extension of the India-Myanmar-Thailand trilateral highway to Cambodia, Laos and Vietnam. India also announced hosting the commemorative summit on shared values, common destiny in 2017 and also offered to host the India-ASEAN Youth Summit. Bureau Report for Rajya Sabha TV.
And Prime Minister Modi is on his way back to Delhi after a full day of engagements in Vientiane. Besides the 14th ASEAN-India and the 11th East Asia Summit, the Prime Minister held bilateral meetings with a number of leaders. He met US President Barack Obama on the sidelines of the East Asia Summit, their 8th meeting in the last 2 years. This could be their last meeting as the leaders of the two countries, with Obama's second term as US President ending in November. The meeting was described as extremely warm and cordial. The Prime Minister earlier met Chinese Premier Li Keqiang just days after he held talks with President Xi Jinping in Hangzhou. In that meeting, Modi had told Xi that the two countries need to be sensitive to each other's strategic interest. The Prime Minister also raised India's concerns over the $46 billion China-Pakistan economic corridor being laid through Pakistan-occupied Kashmir. Modi also held bilateral parleys with Laotian Prime Minister Thongloun Sisoulith and Myanmar Councillor of State Aung San Suu Kyi and South Korean President Park Geun-hye. Now, on the third day of the ASEAN summit, the South China Sea territorial dispute remained one of the top issues in focus. US President Barack Obama warned Beijing that international tribunal's ruling on South China Sea was binding. China, in turn, accused the United States of interfering in regional affairs. However, leaders at the summit took a mild view of tensions between the two superpowers.
ASEAN leaders on Thursday played down tensions over the South China Sea in a carefully worded summit statement. However, even before the statement was issued, China voiced its frustration with countries outside the region interfering in tussles over the strategic waterways. China sent a coded warning to the United States to stay out of the dispute.
域外国家，他们实际上每当看到地区国家在加强合作、妥善处理问题的时候，总是想要插手。那么过去几年他们一直在插手。那么经过这一段的反思，我想东盟国家也再次认识到。
But US President Barack Obama responded with a warning that Beijing must abide by the International Tribunal ruling that its sweeping claims to the South China Sea had no legal basis.
With respect to maritime issues, we'll continue to work to ensure that disputes are resolved peacefully, including in the South China Sea. The landmark arbitration ruling in July, which is binding, helped clarify maritime rights in the region. I recognize this raises tensions, but I also look forward to discussing how we can constructively move forward together to lower tensions.
Earlier in the day, the Secretary General of ASEAN had said the regional bloc would not take sides as US and China were both important allies.
China and United States are among the most important partners of ASEAN. And ASEAN does not want having to choose between, those important partners of ASEAN.
On Wednesday, a dispute between the Philippines and China had overshadowed the summit in Laos. Philippines released pictures of what it said were Chinese boats near a disputed shoal in the region. The area is just 230 kilometers from the Philippines' main island where US forces are stationed. Bureau Report, Rajya Sabha TV.
Now, another milestone for the Indian Space Research Organization. Its GSLV F-05 rocket successfully placed INSAT 3DR and advanced by the satellite into the intended orbit today. The successful launch was announced at 4:54 p.m. from Sriharikota. It was delayed by 40 minutes due to delay in cryostage filling operations. The INSAT 3DR satellite is expected to provide a variety of meteorological services to the country. The other significance of this launch is the GSLV F-05 flight, which is a cryogenic upper stage type indigenously developed by ISRO.
It demonstrates that gradually we are able to handle the cryogenic engine activity, and the space at which the GSLV Mark II is getting realized also is increasing. We had between the 2014 January when we had the first successful launch. After that, last year August we had the follow-on. Now within a year we have completed one more, and now we are looking forward to putting the next GSLV Mark II in about 6 months' time.
Now, President Pranab Mukherjee has given his assent to the landmark constitutional amendment bill that will pave the way for the introduction of the goods and services tax in the country. 19 states have now ratified the Constitution 122nd Amendment Bill, with Arunachal Pradesh and Andhra Pradesh doing it on Thursday. The requirement was for 16 states to ratify the bill to make way for presidential assent. With the Constitution getting amended, the centre will now have the right to tax at the retail stage, and the states too will have the right to collect service tax. The centre is now likely to introduce the all-important central GST bill in Parliament during the winter session. Now, as the unrest in Kashmir entered its third month, a militant attack on a police station and another incident of militants decamping with weapons kept the valley tense on Thursday. Meanwhile, a group comprising of former bureaucrats, judges, journalists and top police officials have urged the president to initiate dialogue for resolution of the Kashmir dispute.
Militants attacked the guard post at the residence of a political leader in Kulgam district of South Kashmir on Thursday, reportedly decamping with 4 rifles of policemen after disarming them. While a departmental inquiry has been set up to probe the incident, security forces have been alerted in the area. In another incident, a group of militants attacked a police station in Pulwama district Wednesday night. The militants managed to escape in the course of the gun battle. However, there were no casualties on any side.
The central government and the state government are capable of dealing with the situation in whatever form it appears, and very soon things would return to normal, as has been stated by in the statement issued at the conclusion of the all-party delegation meeting yesterday.
Meanwhile, a civil society group in Jammu and Kashmir has written to President Pranab Mukherjee seeking a direct dialogue with all stakeholders, including separatists. In a 5-page letter to the President, they have demanded repealing laws like AFSPA and a ban on the use of pellet guns as confidence-building measures for starting the talks. On Wednesday, the all-party delegation that visited Jammu and Kashmir over the weekend had asked the centre and the state governments to take steps to initiate a dialogue with all stakeholders.
Talks have just rolled up in Kashmir. All-party parliamentary delegation has gone, and I believe that for the first time in last 60 days, the art of conversation as core to democracy has taken some kind of shape in Kashmir. We should allow that shape to move further. We should allow that conversation and listening to move further, rather than using jingoistic logic to stifle whatever window is available.
We do not know what the policy of this government is, because they have consistently failed to implement the document that they had signed when they formed the government. If there is confusion in the government, both at the center and the state, how can we predict the progress ahead?
Although curfew is not in place anywhere in the valley, security forces have been deployed at sensitive places to maintain law and order. Restrictions on the assembly of people have also been lifted. However, normal life remained disrupted for the second day due to the separatist-sponsored strike. Bureau Report, Rajya Sabha TV.
Time for us to take a short break. Lots more on the other side. Do stay tuned.
The achievement of a Nobel Prize in Medicine by China is the result of the integration of the traditional medicine in main healthcare system, and I think we lagged in it. Whatever you are getting from the laboratory investigation and then you are translating into the healthcare, that is yukti. If a Vaidya is blessed by this sense of yukti, he can never fail.
Watch Eureka with Professor Kartar Singh Dhiman, Director General, Central Council for Research in Ayurvedic Sciences, only on Rajya Sabha TV. The sacred relics of Buddha were unearthed in Piprava in Uttar Pradesh. Buddhist monks from all over the world visit the National Museum to pay their respects. These charred bone fragments of Buddha are housed in the gold canopy gifted by the royal family of Thailand.
Welcome back. You're watching the news at 6. News from the national capital now. And the Aam Aadmi Party government suffered another jolt today when the Delhi High Court set aside the appointment of 21 party MLAs as parliamentary secretaries. The court ruled their appointments as illegal since they were made without the Lieutenant Governor's approval. Today's ruling comes close on the heels of a similar verdict when the court declared the LG as the administrative head of the capital, dealing a severe blow to Chief Minister Arvind Kejriwal.
A big jolt for the Aam Aadmi Party government in Delhi. The High Court on Thursday scrapped the appointment of 21 Aam Aadmi Party MLAs as parliamentary secretaries. This after the party conceded in court that their appointment was not cleared by the Lieutenant Governor.
माननीय हाई कोर्ट का जो निर्णय है ये इस मामले में एक बहुत बड़ी चूँकि हाई कोर्ट ने ये स्वीकार कर लिया है कि ये इनकी नियुक्तियां अवैध थी, नियुक्तियां गलत थी, असंवैधानिक थी। ये मुद्दे मैंने भी राष्ट्रपति जी के सामने समक्ष और चुनाव आयोग में अपनी याचिका में उठाए हैं और मैंने इस बात का भी हवाला दिया है, चूँकि ये गलत तरीके से इनको पोस्ट दी गई। संसदीय सचिव कोई पद एग्जिस्ट नहीं करता, इनको मंत्री का दर्जा दिया गया, इसलिए लाभ के पद पर आते हैं। तो हाई कोर्ट के निर्णय का निश्चित तौर पर पूरा प्रभाव चुनाव आयोग के डिसीजन पर पड़ेगा।
The Aam Aadmi Party's submission came after the High Court ruled last month that the Lieutenant Governor is the administrative head of Delhi and the state government has to consult him on all decisions. Now the Election Commission will decide whether to continue hearing the petition seeking disqualification of these MLAs who were appointed as parliamentary secretaries.
सोचने वाली बात है कि सदस्यता क्यों थी, सदस्यता के ऊपर सवाल क्यों खड़े हो रहे थे कि वो संसदीय सचिव हैं। अब वो संसदीय सचिव ही नहीं है तो उनके सदस्यता पे, उनके डिस्क्वालिफिकेशन पे अब इलेक्शन कमीशन अपना क्या मत बनाता है, क्या राय बनाता है। मुझे लगता है कि ये इसे हमें इलेक्शन कमीशन के विवेक पे छोड़ देना चाहिए।
Opposition parties called the decision a slap on the face of the Aam Aadmi Party government.
Today's verdict is a second slap in a manner of few weeks. A petition regarding disqualification of the 21 AAP MLAs is pending in the Election Commission of India, and disqualification of these MLAs is very much on the cards.
ये जजमेंट से साबित हो गया है कि इस देश के अंदर कानून काम करता है, क्योंकि जिस तरीके से अरविंद केजरीवाल उनकी पार्टी कोई कानून कायदे को नहीं मानती है, आज का ये जजमेंट जो है उनको सबक लेने की जरूरत है।
The appointment of Aam Aadmi Party MLAs as parliamentary secretaries was challenged on the basis of the Office of Profit clause of the Constitution. It was on this ground that President Pranab Mukherjee refused to sign the bill that ratified their appointment in June this year. Bureau Report, Rajya Sabha TV.
Now, as Rahul Gandhi continues his Kisan Mahayatra in Uttar Pradesh, State Chief Minister Akhilesh Yadav reached out to the Congress Vice President. Referring to Rahul as a good human being, Akhilesh talked of a possible friendship with him if Rahul spent more time in the state.
The Kisan Mahayatra of the Congress party reached Basti on Thursday, where party Vice President Rahul Gandhi is scheduled to interact with farmers and also visit around a dozen villages. The third day of his yatra is being seen as the biggest outreach by the party in the poll-bound state. As the Congress Vice President interacted with voters in UP, State Chief Minister Akhilesh Yadav termed Rahul Gandhi as a good human being and suggested that friendship between them was a possibility if Rahul spent more time.
मैं तो ये कहूँगा कि राहुल जी बहुत अच्छे इंसान हैं, बहुत अच्छे लड़के हैं वो भी, और उत्तर प्रदेश में ज्यादा आना चाहिए और ज्यादा रहना चाहिए, और जब ज्यादा कोई रहेगा तो हमारी भी दोस्ती उनसे होगी।
Akhilesh, however, shrugged off a question on an alliance between the Congress and the Samajwadi Party in the run-up to the assembly polls in 2017.
मैंने क्या किया, दो अच्छे लोग मिल नहीं सकते, तुम राजनीतिक बात क्यों करते हो? दो अच्छे लोग की बात हुई है, कोई राजनीतिक बात तो नहीं हुई।
Rahul also held a roadshow in Basti, which has 5 assembly segments and 1 parliamentary constituency. Bureau Report, Rajya Sabha TV.
Now, after weeks of speculation, former BJP leader Navjot Singh Sidhu formally launched a new political party in Punjab. Called the Punjab, Sidhu said his party will work for the resurrection and redemption of Punjab. He also said his brand of politics is about serving people and not personal gain. Sidhu has joined hands with 3 top voices from the state, former India hockey captain and suspended Akali MLA Pargat Singh, and Ludhiana-based independent state lawmakers and brothers Simarjeet and Balwinder Singh Bains. The group is also likely to draw the support of Aam Aadmi Party's sacked Punjab chief Sucha Singh Chotepur.
आवाज़ पंजाब एक इनकलाबी आवाज़ है, एक इनकलाबी आवाज़ है जिहड़ी सद्दा दिंदी है हर चंगे बंदे नूं कि आए और एकजुट होके अज पंजाब जिहड़ा जार जार करता तार तार करता बर्बादी दी कगार ते खड़ाता ओनू सवारे। एक चंगा बंदा 100 माड़ियां नालों चंगा, चंदन दा एक टुकड़ा बबूल दे जंगल नालों चंगा।
And while Sidhu was launching his new political front in Punjab, Aam Aadmi Party chief Arvind Kejriwal was also present in the poll bandstand to campaign for his party. For him, though, it didn't turn out to be a good day as he faced protests in Ludhiana from his own party workers who alleged that corrupt candidates had been picked to contest elections. Earlier in the day, he was heckled at the New Delhi railway station as well before he left for Ludhiana. Workers of the BJP women's wing gherawed the chief minister and shouted slogans demanding his resignation over the sex clip of one of his ministers. Some more national news stories now in Nationwide. The Supreme Court on Thursday lifted its temporary suspension of CBI inquiry into the gang rape of a 35-year-old woman and her teenage daughter in Bulandshahr in July. The Supreme Court asked the CBI to continue its inquiry into the incident. The court had suspended temporarily until it decided who should investigate the case after the victims wanted the case transferred out of the state. Aam Aadmi Party leader Ashutosh appeared before the National Commission for Women on Thursday. The NCW had summoned Ashutosh for writing an article in defence of sacked Delhi Minister Sandeep Kumar, which the women's panel found insulting and demeaning towards women. Sandeep Kumar was suspended after a sex tape featuring him surfaced last month. Central government employees can claim leave travel concession if they travel to Jammu and Kashmir by any airline for 2 more years. Earlier in June, the government had permitted its employees to travel to Jammu and Kashmir by private airlines till September this year. While rules till then allowed government employees to travel by Air India only, the journey cost will now be reimbursed when they avail LTC. Time for some sports now, and let's talk about the US Open, where second seed Britain's Andy Murray made a shocking and his earliest Grand Slam exit of the year after Japan's Kei Nishikori fought back to win their US Open quarterfinal in 5 sets.
5-all, breakpoint Nishikori. And with that volley, Nishikori...
Wimbledon champion lost to Nishikori 1-6, 6-4, 4-6, 6-1, 7-5 in 3 hours and 57 minutes. However, the Scot took it in his stride, saying it was the case of win some, lose some. The quarterfinal loss has snapped his string of 7 finals in his last 7 events.
He would break and then hold serve for 6-4. We're knotted up at a set apiece. Murray would respond and win the third set, 6-4.
Nishikori will now face Swiss third seed Stan Wawrinka, who outlasted former champion Juan Martín del Potro in 4 sets to advance to the semi-finals. The two-time Grand Slam winner Wawrinka won the match with a 7-6, 4-6, 6-3, 6-2 scoreline.
But in the third, it's Serena's...
In the women's singles, Serena Williams reached the semi-final of the US Open after beating 5th seed Romanian Simona Halep in 3 sets. The 6-time champion won a gripping contest 6-2, 4-6, 6-3 to close in on a 23rd Grand Slam singles title.
And on match point, she noted at the 2016 US Open.
And the smiles, even Halep.
Time now for all the international news in Global Buzz. The European Council President has said it was in everyone's interest for Britain to start its negotiations over leaving the European Union as soon as possible. British Prime Minister Theresa May is expected to start the formal procedure for Brexit soon. In a tweet, Tusk said the Council's goal was to establish closest possible relations between the EU and UK. A major Navy drill involving Russia's Black Sea Fleet, troops from Crimea and southern regions and aviation is underway in the Caspian Sea. Nearly 40 military jets are taking part in this exercise. Southern regions' air defense capabilities check were carried out by the fighter jets. A Dutch citizen died after his Tesla car collided with a tree on Wednesday. According to sources, it took hours for firefighters to remove the man's body from the vehicle due to the fear that they could be electrocuted. The cause of the death was not yet known, but the authorities were working to find the facts behind the incident. That's all from us. Goodbye.